Good afternoon. My name is Robin Hare, and I work with the Office of Admission at Mounds Park Academy. I'm also a very proud parent of an MPA third grader. Today's session is for parents as they try to find the right school fit for their families. There are 10 questions which we recommend all families ask every school they are applying to. Today, I'm going to ask them to our MPA community members. At any time, please feel free to pop any questions that you might have into our chat section, and I will make sure that we cover them. We have a lot of ground today to cover today, so I'm going to jump right in and ask our community members to introduce themselves. Isaac and Michael, would you like to start?
Sounds good. Hi, I'm Isaac Dye. I'm a senior at MPA, and I've been here for 14 years since pre-K.
Hello, I'm Michael Dye. I'm Vice President and Associate General Counsel of 3M Company. I have two lifers at the MPA, alum who's Ingrid, who graduated with the class of 2016, and the other one is this young man sitting next to me. So between the two of them, my wife and I have had 18 years of experience with Mounds Park Academy. And I also volunteered to serve on the board of trustees for MPA in the past 8 years.
Thank you. How about you, Mrs. Moen?
Hello, my name is Sarah Moen, and I am an English teacher in the upper school. And I started this is my 6th year finishing at MPA. I had 25 years of experience in 3 different schools before that, and have found my home at MPA. Very happy to be here for the remainder of my career. And I was also lucky enough to be an MPA parent. My daughter was a junior when I started here, and she came with me. So she got to finish and have her junior and senior year here at Mounds Park.
Great. And Lisa?
Hello, everyone. I am Lisa Hessian. I am a parent of 2 first-year students at MPA. One is in the middle school in the 6th grade, and then I have a second one that is in the 3rd grade at MPA.
Thank you. And last but not least, Tanner.
Hi, I'm Tanner Gassizaro. I'm a current senior, going to graduate later this year. And I joined halfway through 9th grade. So
great. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you. So I am going to hop right in. The first question that parents should be asking is, what will the new student experience be like? Will my child find his group of friends? And Tanner, I'm going to start out with you. Can you speak to what the new student experience has been like for you?
Yeah, I would say MPA is really unique in the way that new students are treated, because I was also a new student at Matamidi at a very big public high school and middle school, and there it was very hard to find friends, work yourself in. You sort of had to slowly work yourself in. Here it's almost incredible, because I come in on the first day and I have people that want to get to know me, which was great. I sat down in my English class for the first day, and obviously hadn't known anyone there, and they all went, "Oh, what's your name? What school did you just come from? You seem like a really nice person, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. At Matamidi, it took me forever to get to that point. But here it was like, boom, you already started out knowing everyone, which is just kind of a unique experience you don't get anywhere else.
Yeah, and I think part of that is due to the size of MPA, and we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. But Lisa, you have a new 3rd grader this year, and then Maya actually started mid-year as well, like Tanner did. Can you tell me a little bit about what was Maya and Keegan's experience like as new students?
Yeah. Fortunately, I have pretty resilient children, but they both had the reservations coming in. There's no question about it. They both had a very solid group of kids that they were friends with at their previous schools, and were a little apprehensive about changing schools. Keegan had the benefit of starting right away at the beginning of the school year. And he, on the first day, came home and wouldn't stop talking. about school, which he had never done before. So everything from the friends he had made to he was so excited about the math test that he was going to take later in the week, which for him to be excited about a math test is revolutionary. So that alone, we knew immediately that we had made the perfect choice for him. He loves to learn. He's very excited about learning, but he's not your stereotypical book smart learner in that way. He typically likes different styles of learning, and he found his home unquestionably right away. Maya is much different in terms of how she goes about life than Keegan. She is more of your book smart and loves school from point A all the way to point Z. And she is older. And so changing mid-year was a really hard decision for us. And it was definitely a concern for her as well. But again, she fit in. She took maybe 2 or 3 days and she found that group, and has been thriving since then. And then also from the academics as well. The teachers have been awesome and brought her up to speed right away where she needed to be. And she's been moving ever since.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
As a follow-up to that question, I think it's really important that parents ask this question: will I find my community of parents with the same educational values and hopes that I have for my own children? And Michael, can you characterize the parent community at MPA? You've been here for a while.
Yes, so I have found that the MPA's parent community and the parents tend to be having a more balanced approach toward their kids' education. What I mean by that is it's both academic rigor, because this is still a college prep school after all.
Yeah.
Combine that with joy of learning. So the joy part of it is somewhat unique at Mount Spark Academy, and maybe is enabled by the small community, but also very much by our outstanding teachers and faculty and the principal of the school, the foundation of the school. When Mr. Kreischer started in 1982, this whole concept of the whole child. We are educating a whole child. So on the one hand, you have the academic rigor, because parents still have strong aspiration and hope for our kids to go on to college and receive higher education. But at the same time, we are looking for a nurturing environment like Mount Spark Academy, where learning actually is a joy.
Yeah, I think that characterizes what a lot of parents are looking for. And when I talk to them, it's that, yes, they want their children to be very, very intelligent and well-educated. And they also really want them to love to learn and to have a great time too, because that actually makes the academic rigor even more interesting and enticing. Okay, question number 3 that parents should ask is, what is the average class size? Class size is super important. Currently in Minnesota, the average class size is 27. When I was teaching middle school English in a public school, my classes could easily swell to 30 plus students. At MPA, the average class size is 15. Sarah, how does having a small class size help you be a better teacher? How does it make a difference in your class?
You know, I can't even emphasize enough what a difference that makes. It makes, I think the hugest things, number one, is my ability to connect with the kids and get to know them more quickly, and their ability to be engaged. They think about, you know, even as we've done this crazy hybrid year and been able to have our kids zooming in, and half of them are on a monitor and half of them we did circle discussions where they just circled around the monitor and every kid participated from home, instead of, you know, I hear the stories of the kids that are checked out when they're at home. That because there's so few of us, we could do this and we could do it well. So for sure, discussion, the way we get to know them. I even think about the size of the school And I remember realizing after my second year, coming from big, large public high schools of 1,600 to 2,000 kids, going in our little cozy world, I know who a kid is by the way they walk. And I know them even if I don't have them in my classroom. I can see somebody down the hallway. And just that was just really concrete evidence to me about how really familiar we are with who the kids are. And then the ability to conference on their essays and just have that connection after connection after connection with the kids.
Yeah, as a former English teacher, I remember it was impossible to give feedback to 6 classes of 30 plus students on a 3-page essay. I mean, it was just not possible compared to the 15 size. It's much more accessible. So to piggyback with that, school size is really important as it lends to a really strong school culture. What grades are represented at your school, and how many total students are at your school? This is a really important question for parents to ask. I'm going to answer first, and then I'm going to talk with Isaac a little bit. MPA is small by design. We believe it lends to just a much more intimate learning experience and a really warm, kind of cozy family feel. I always think that it's fun when Dr. Jen Milam, our middle school division director, says there is no place to hide. Students are known and cared for by so many adults in this building. We currently have 540 pre-K through 12th grade students, and we aim not to go above 575 students. And I think one of the things that I love and that so many people in this building are all really appreciating is that we have a lot of opportunities because we are all under one roof. So Isaac, can you speak to what it feels like to be in a school with children of all ages and what that looks like? There's pre-K students, there's 18-year-old seniors. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's gone from the process of being a pre-K through to be an 18-year-old at the school, it's kind of fascinating because, when I was very little, we would have pairing assemblies and we just sort of be in awe of the big kids who would like do puzzles with us and, know where the pieces fit. And the nice thing was that wasn't just like a one-off experience because, you'd when I was walking down to the cafeteria, you'd see them and you'd high five them. And then having that perspective later on is like, oh, as a senior now and as a high schooler being the big kid to the little kids that you're paired with in these things or just seeing the hallway, you remember just how special it is to have someone big talk to you. So I always do my best to wave hi and things like that. But also just really great for, having friends outside of your grade level. I know, talking to people that do similar activities cross grades because in a school where there'd be like 500 people per grade, that's not possible. But when it's 500 people in the school, it's way easier to make connections with. For example, I'm a debater, working alongside freshmen, they're just starting to debate and helping to mentor them and other things like that. So I think it's just a really special place to both take on leadership roles and when you're older and to be led when you're younger.
Yeah, and I think Christine Peterson, she's spoken before about just how fun it is to see her kindergartners, and she watches them all the way along, and she's just really cheering them on. So I think that's really neat. Okay, so in Minnesota, we have excellent public schools for sure. We are spoiled for choices for schools. And many families ask, question number 5, what is the value of a tuition-based education? So Michael, you have an alum, you have a senior. What do you see as the return on your investment at MPA compared to a tuition-free school?
Yes, I think school choice is personal. It's personal to every family. And in my situation, it was 18 years ago when Ingrid was looking for the right school for kindergarten to go to. And my wife and I did look around at both public and private options. And we, as you said, we do have very solid public school system in our school district. It was somewhat personal to us because Ingrid was a very, very shy child at that time. But I'm sure people who know her would not believe that, right? Because she's entirely different person now. But back then she was painfully shy. And when we were exploring the public school system here, in our neighborhood, my wife and I just didn't have that comfortable feeling that she would actually be able to thrive. Just the size, a lot of questions were not answered, a lot of unknown factors. So we went on to explore St. Paul Academy. We went to visit Breck School. We also visited Mount Spark Academy, where I had at least 2 colleagues whom I respect very, very much, had their children attending Mount Spark Academy. So for sure, their experience influenced our decision as well. And we made a choice of having Ingrid starting kindergarten at Mount Spark Academy, and we have not regretted. And since Ingrid was already here and you kind of see the product of Mount Spark Academy, then the choice became very easy when Isaac was for pre-K education. So I think in terms of return on investment, I am probably more a traditionalist. I don't put dollar amount on that. I know there are a lot of surveys out there comparing private school education and the net worth of a child with private school education, how much better they are compared to public school educated students. That really doesn't matter very much to me. I view return on investment is a child after 13, 14 years of this type of school's training, whether they get good study habit, whether they become an independent thinker, whether they can communicate effectively. Because independent thinking and effective communications, these kinds of skill sets serve them well in college and particularly in workplace. Doesn't matter whether it's a for-profit company like the company that I work with, or nonprofit or academia or public service. Independent thinking leads to innovation. Effective communication leads to leadership. So all these attributes are so much more important in my mind in terms of my investment in my 2 children. And Ingrid, our daughter, is an excellent example of that, from an extremely, extremely shy child to become an extremely self-confident double major in music and economics. And now, even in the middle of COVID, she was able to graduate from Carleton College with honors and got a job at one of the best nonprofit consulting firms in town that is also federal government certified community financial development institution. So you can't get better than that. She's nonprofit service to the community is her dream, and she owes everything to Mount Spark Academy and Carleton College education.
Yeah, thank you. I think to dovetail on that, the thing that I really want for my son Charlie, and I see even now with just less than a year of 3rd grade, is that really important part of being a risk taker and being super flexible in his thinking. He's not as rigid as he used to be about the right way and the wrong way of solving a problem, for example. He is a lot more flexible. I'm going to pause right now. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop those in the chat and we will get to them. I'm going to move on to question number 6. How would you describe the pedagogy or teaching style at the school as a whole? So Sarah, we've touched on this already, but that we really value at MPA that balance of deep academic rigor and joyful experiential learning. Can you talk to how that looks in your class?
Yes. I think a lot of this is in my mind kind of bundled into the last question too. As a parent, I have these 2 combined. I think a lot of it is in not only in how class is conducted every day, but the way assessments are conducted, that the assessments are those true, authentic assessments of projects, of presentations, of essays where it's really exploring that critical thinking. So bringing my daughter, I would say my daughter who came with me as a junior, who came from a very competitive environment And she found her confidence at MPA in 2 years in a way that was absolutely transformational. And a lot of it is because there's no Scantron machine. If those of you who are at a big public school know exactly what I'm talking about with the Scantron, we don't own one. So every assessment was really about her ability to think and really to process information and to do it creatively. And that is absolutely what all of us are doing in our classrooms is it's digging into the material in a way that is always about pushing the thinking deeper in a way. In an English classroom, hands-on, that might look like we have a written discussion with butcher paper taped up all over the room, and they're writing and engaging in a different format of discussion. It's going to look like reading full texts that are a little bit more difficult, but we have the ability to walk them through a difficult text and send them off with confidence that they can tackle something that's challenging and trust themselves to be able to digest it and think critically about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Lisa, as a follow-up, you've touched on this a little bit, but I remember our conversations from the very beginning about Keegan, and you were saying that, boy, he is not a traditional learner. He really likes that hands-on kind of way of learning. And, you know, we both are new parents of third graders this year, and I think the thing that's surprised me about Charlie is how much of it has been hands-on and working together, in spite of the fact that they are, you know, having to stay 6 feet apart. Keegan, can you tell me how has it engaged him differently, this different way of learning?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I mentioned before, Keegan, he thrives on learning. There's no question about it. He loves to learn. And so starting with that is important, that foundation, and being inspired by that. But sitting down and learning, doing, you know, worksheets or learning just via a textbook purely isn't really his style. It's definitely, you know, important. There's different ways of learning, and there's keys to each way of learning. But for him to really be engaged and to thrive, he needs to problem solve. He needs to ask questions. He needs to understand what's the root cause, and if I tweak it, what's the outcome of tweaking it. He likes to learn for himself a lot of ways and understand what's that cause and effect for doing that. Sometimes that's not a good cause and effect. Sometimes it's a great cause and effect, but it's an important learning to be able to go through that process. And MPA has done a great job of providing him that environment. There's all different ways and different styles of learning, and there's no question about it. And with the smaller class sizes, the teachers do a great job of understanding what that dynamic is for each child and how to engage them in their fullest. And so really have appreciated that model of meeting the child at their level and at their expertise, and then helping stretch that too. Making them reach new goals and further what they're good at, but then also pushing them in ways that they didn't even know that they could strive to, you know, or begin to strive for. So it's been great for him. It's been really critical. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tanner, you're up. It says, for Tanner, as someone who joined MPA during high school, how did you adapt academically? Was it a challenging switch as far as academic expectations? That's an excellent question.
Yeah, and I can really speak to that just because I really think that academically, you know, Matamita High School and middle school and MPA, they are very different. And I think something that was also good about me is I came in wanting to learn more. That was one of the reasons why we actually wanted to leave Matamita. It was because I wanted more than Matamita could give me. And the great place about here is that really any way you want to learn academically, you get it. I wanted to be able to talk to my teachers after class, ask extra questions, and now every day I'll stay after and annoy my math teacher with questions. But there's also kids who don't want to do that and still get by fine. It's really, you could do anything you want to. Yeah. But I know some kids who are new here that come in and they maybe went to a public school where they weren't appreciated enough, or they weren't able to ask enough questions, and here you can come in and you can really ask what you want, you can do what you want, and the teachers are happy to oblige and really help you with that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, does MPA support students that have a variety of academic ability? Example, very advanced in some areas, but behind in others. Are there opportunities to meet these students where they are? So I'm going to talk very quickly as a parent, and then I'm going to pass that off to Sarah. I know that with my son, Charlie, he was definitely not a mathematician at his local public school. He was not thriving in math. It wasn't his favorite. And he was, to be very frank, it was not one of his strengths. And for sure, he was able to get caught up very, very quickly. And then also now, it's like his teacher is saying, we're going to have to start challenging him even further. And like we've touched on, is that small class size, it really makes a huge difference. Sarah, I'm going to have you answer as a teacher.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I kind of loved when I first came. I had been teaching, I spent most of my career teaching all honors AP courses, and coming in and seeing a really nice range of abilities in the classes and how the kids would work together with that. And again, because you know them so well and you have them often more than 1 year. And we really get to know them. There is that a real ability to meet them where they're at. And I think our range of course offerings offers that as well for kids to plug in where their strength is and to make some choices. And at the same time, being able to reach for what they can reach for and feeling confident and good about that.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, we're going to keep on going. Question number 7. So tell me if you're going to get my kid into the college that they want to go to. This is a question that I get asked a lot in the admissions office. But essentially, how is MPA going to help my student get into the college of his or her choice? So Tanner and Isaac, you guys, I'm going to ask you, can you tell me a little bit about your college search and how MPA has helped along the way? And Tanner, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think obviously this is a college prep school, so you would think that you'd want to get in the college that you want to go to, right? And I think the great thing about here is the staff also wants you, the college admissions, the college counselors, everyone here wants you to get into the college that you want to go to as well. I mean, they help you get the teacher recs that you want. And the great thing about here is you really foster relationships with your teachers, which means that they can almost seem more meaningful to colleges just because you spend so much more time with them than you normally would at your average public school, where you may be the 30th kid in their 7th class or something. You get a more personal connection, and that really helps with colleges. And of course, the college admissions staffs, they help you with your essays, they help you with your building your resumes and building your portfolios for colleges to see. And it really helps show colleges that this school is serious and they really want it. And because of that, colleges often will consider applicants from here, I feel, more than a lot of other schools. And Isaac, you can add anything. I'm sorry.
I definitely agree with everything that Tanner said. We have such a dedicated college admission staff, but I'm also going to sort of reject the premise of the question, because I think we're really good at saying, what college you get into is not going to define you for the rest of your life. Yes, we're a college preparatory school. Yes. But the important thing is that you go to a school that's good for you. And I think there's always been that sort of emphasis that don't let that define you. And of course, we want to help you get to the best place that you can. And we have, awesome staff for doing that. But I think it's not the sort of environment where everybody's trying to, stab everybody else in the back to try to get a competitive advantage. It's a place where we're all going to try to learn together, and we're all going to do the best that we can, and also accept that best is different for everybody else. And I think that's what I've appreciated most, is that the admissions process has been so supportive and meeting people where they're at as to whatever they want to do, and not trying to force that down their throats.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to go to question number 8. Tell me about the school's diversity, equity, and inclusion. Michael, can you speak, and Isaac as well, about your experience as a parent of color and Isaac as a student that's multiracial?
Sure, I can start. So diversity inclusion, clearly that business case has been made. So there's no doubt that it is very, very important for a school like Mount Spark Academy. Actually, Mount Spark Academy student body is quite diverse, and I don't know how many people know about that. And I would also say the Board of Trustees itself intentionally diverse as well. And I think as a member of the Board of Trustees, I feel that we are kind of playing a supporting role to Dr. Hudson in his efforts to bring our school to the next level and on his journey to kind of make sure that the social equity, social justice, diversity, and inclusion are truly one of the top priorities for the company, for the school.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can only speak to my own experience, of course, but I've had a great experience as a student of color. There's, of course, every school, including MPA, has work to do in that category. But what I appreciate most is that teachers, staff, administration, they're all trying to do their best to make this a welcoming and inclusive place. And we fall short sometimes, but we're working on it. And my hope is that we'll continue to do that into the future, because I think everybody deeply cares about the students, and we deeply care about each other. So it's been a good place for me, and I hope it'll continue to be a good place for other people as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. So question number 9, how easy is it to be involved in a variety of extracurricular activities and sports? And Tanner, oftentimes, unless you've been playing a sport since you were tiny, there is no chance of making a school team. Could you tell me a little bit about your experience at MPA going out for different sports teams?
Yeah, and it's definitely more, once again, more unique than anywhere. So a little backstory, in 9th grade, I came middle of the year and I hadn't played tennis for a while. I joined the tennis team 9th grade, and we have a no-cut policy here, and it's great because that means that everyone gets to be included. Everyone gets to have a shot at making a team, that joining, and it really helps just help you feel more included as well. And then the next year I went out for skiing. I had never skied before in my entire life, yet I make it on the team, and I actually became one of the most improved skiers just because you give people that opportunity to really improve themselves, improve their things. And also in 11th grade or 11th and 12th grade, I went out for soccer, something I hadn't played for 5 or more years. And I had a great time. Even though I wasn't the best on the team, I had a great time playing with my friends, just really having a fun time, really, even if you don't say win, which sometimes we are not the most known for here, winning, but we do it when we want to. And even when you're not winning, you're still having fun, which is one of the best parts about not being super serious, super set on like, we only want the best athletes, we only want the best blah, blah, blah. You really get a diversity of ideas, playing sports all at once, and it really enriches the experience, I think.
Yeah, and it probably helped you, like you were talking about, just that new student experience, as well as just you made your friends right away. Isaac, you are very, very busy as well with different activities. Can you tell me what they are and how your teachers just really facilitate your involvement in a lot of different activities?
First of all, I just had to say, I don't do sports to be fair to other schools, because I know we'd win so much if I were on the team. Joke. But no, definitely. I mean, I would say I leave school at 5 p.m. most days because, I'm involved in something, and, teachers are really understanding of that when we're, well, first of all, they're the ones that push me into it. Miss Murr, the debate coach, she recruits every freshman she can to try to get on the debate team and keep them all 4 years. So, but she's always, making sure that everybody's supported. I think we had like, 1/2 of the upper school went to at least one debate tournament this year. We reached 100 people. So obviously there's a lot of encouragement from all members of the community to be involved in that. But there's such a diversity of things that I think everybody can find a place, whether it's, theater, debate and speech, math, math league, all those different things, sports. So I think everybody can find a place that's good for them. And I think teachers, of course, if you're busy with something, they're accommodating. And also whoever the coaches for those different activities are also accommodating one. If you've got finals, okay, well, we'll take a week off. So it's very, very easy to do. I mean, I've done like 3 or 4 extracurriculars this year, and I haven't been really stressed about it. So it's not, nothing's gonna be stopping you from doing whatever you want.
Wonderful. Thank you. And our last question, is your school environment more collaborative or is it more competitive? And Sarah, you've talked a little bit about this. At MPA, we value collaboration over competition. What are the benefits of a collaborative and nurturing classroom versus a more kind of a competitive feeling towards a classroom?
I think the collaboration, when that is the value and the competition is muted, when the goal is to have every child strive towards excellence instead of perfection or the best, I think everybody's better. I mean, it really is. It really even, I think for the talented kids, I think as the whole child philosophy, and as I've really come to learn and appreciate this, and I think we see that really clearly in the lower grades, but in the upper school, as we see that with that value and the time on our schedule devoted to fine arts, devoted to robotics, and all of these different programs that Tanner and Isaac are talking about that can get involved in, that ends up with kids really having respect for lots of different skills and lots of different strengths that I think really makes them better people, because it's not just about the top 10 kids that you see, featured on the board when they walk into the building, and those are the important kids. And then that translates then to the way the classrooms function, with lots of group projects and lots of discussion and Socratic seminar where we're working to find meaning, we're not working to win a discussion. So I think it permeates kind of every aspect of our life, and that work towards excellence, which is important, and curiosity. And curiosity has to have room to move. Competition will kill that pretty quickly, I think. So I've appreciated it significantly as a teacher and a parent.
Thank you, everyone. It looks like our time is up. I'd like to thank all of our panelists and for all of you who have tuned in at home. If you would like to connect with any of our panelists, or if you have any further questions, do not hesitate to connect with the Office of Admission. Thank you, everyone.